In the Impact segment tonight, the fallout from the Ferguson police shootings and Emailgate. Let's bring in one of my favorite authors and commentators out there, anywhere, Ann Coulter. And welcome. First, let's start with Ferguson. Your thoughts on the latest in Ferguson?
Well, I think the whole thing was brought about by Obama and Holder, turning a self-defense shooting by a cop in this small town into another 9/11. They had 45 FBI agents investigating, and what began as, you know, a brutal assassination murder of Mike Brown, a black teenager, after all of these investigations, to a massive grand jury investigation, even Eric Holder's Justice Department. All they come up with is, well, yes, he was, Darren Wilson, Officer Darren Wilson was completely in the right. He was being charged. The witnesses who said that Big Mike had his hands up were lying, were completely full of it. This is all from Eric Holder's report. But they stopped too many blacks in traffic violations. Try to find a city, any municipality in America where blacks are not stopped more than whites are. I mean, you'll remember Michael Bloomberg in New York defending the stop and frisk policy, saying, look, if you look at the arrest rates, blacks have a much higher arrest rate. They have a much higher crime rate. And liberals may not want to admit that, but if you're going to play these games with statistics, that happens to be very important. Michael Bloomberg said, if anything, we're not arresting enough white people. And as Steve Saylor pointed out on his blog, he started comparing white and black arrest records in various left-wing places like Santa Monica. The black arrest rate in Santa Monica is 3 times as high as the black arrest rate in Ferguson.
All right, and before we move on to Hillary, I want to talk the producers, let's pull up that picture of the CNN anchors when they're standing around a table and they have the hands up, don't shoot sign. The media, Ann, has been complicit in this, and why?
I describe it all in my book, Mugged. The left just loves ginning up racial animosity and hatred, and I think the best race relations ever were in this country was after, as I describe in my book, after the O.J. verdict, when white America finally said, that's it, we've paid at the office, we're done, and suddenly blacks stopped being infantilized, and they were treated like adults, and you had all of this just flowering of intellectual and important blacks, and not just the ones who were coming on TV to harangue us. Well, Obama and the media sucking up to Obama and their general love of racial demagoguery has brought us back to the 70s.
All right, and let's move on to Hillary Clinton. The whole Emailgate scandal, I haven't heard where you stand on this, but does she think she's above the law? Does she want to just have a general feeling that the laws don't apply to her the way they apply to us?
Well, I was listening to your previous guests and other guests on this topic on other stations, and let's say everything they say is true, which I do not think it is. This is for purposes of argument. Nothing that Hillary did was illegal. It didn't violate protocol. There's nothing about Benghazi. All the emails she deleted just had to do with Chelsea's wedding. Let's say all of that is true. Hillary herself and her defenders say, well, it was a mistake, and if I had to do it over again, I would have 2 phones. She did do it again. She has been through this before. She was the first lady of Arkansas. She was involved in 2 presidential campaigns. She was the first lady of the nation. She was Secretary of State, and there was scandal after scandal. She did do this before. Can't she learn? A child learns when you put your hand on the stove. If it burns, don't put your hand on the stove again. This is like an IQ test we've set up for this woman. A rat learns, don't do this. I'll get a shock if I do that.
But here's the problem,
Why didn't it occur to her?
No shock.
Maybe I shouldn't do it.
There's no shock. She keeps having a scandal after scandal, and no one holds her. No one holds her accountable.
I don't think most people's recollection of the Clinton years were about that. You had the Rose Law Firm records. You had her taking the files out of Vince Foster's office. You had her hiding the health care records.
And here she is. And here she is, the most popular Democrat in America. How is that possible? Is that all we can come up with? We can come up with someone who's scandal after scandal and another Clinton?
This woman has a very low IQ. We now have the test. The evidence is in.
All right. How do Democrats want someone else? It feels like that now they've been painted into the corner. They have to back Hillary Clinton. Do they wish they had another choice?
I think you're right about that. I mean, the media keeps, the left-wing media, i.e. everything except, well, right here, right now, they keep acting as if we somehow, we as America owe Hillary Clinton because we ran off with our trophy wife Obama back in 2008. We owe her this nomination. Well, when America doesn't owe her, maybe you owe her, liberal America. But I don't think most Americans feel like she's owed anything. So, yeah, and also I think probably a lot of them are starting to wonder, why would she do something this stupid? Forgetting about the corruption, forgetting about the illegality.
So, Ann, the left seems to be enamored with the first African-American president. Now they want the first female president. Is that a mistake?
It's kind of sad, the holidays they hold so dear. Whereas I noticed they did not celebrate the first black Secretary of State under President Bush, Colin Powell, or the first black female Secretary of State, Condoleezza Rice. No, those kind of slipped beneath the radar. But these useless women like Madeleine Albright, we have to have a big holiday over that one. I think it's embarrassing and people get sick of this stuff. And the main thing I would say is Republicans, please don't follow in the Democrats' wake. When a Margaret Thatcher comes along, you'll know it. You don't go looking over politics to find, do we have a woman we can run? You know it when she comes along.
There you go. We're going to leave it right there. And as always, thank you very much. Up next, President Obama says he's embarrassed